Jaya Shri Krishna, Caitanya, Prabhu, Nityananda, Shri Advaita, Gadadhara, Srivasadi, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. What comes next? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. What comes next? Take your pick.
Maybe some Krishna specific for you. I don't want to take anything.
Okay, if there's nothing specific for me. This is very suitable for you. Okay, I'll read it for you. How can we make our preaching more effective? How to bring more people to the movement of Krishna consciousness? Some tips.
Well, this is a very relevant question, of course. But it's actually quite a simple thing. I think when we remember how we joined this movement, it was always by example of some devotee. Even later on, we may claim some intellectual or philosophical merit. It was actually a personal devotee who impressed us and who actually attracted us to Krishna consciousness. That principle is still there. So we can now discuss visions, we can discuss preaching techniques, we can discuss how more people may like Krishna consciousness by watering it down. Anyway, I will not get into that. But the ultimate thing, how we can attract more people to Krishna consciousness is by our personal example. This is one of the biggest mistakes preacher can do, that he underestimates the people he preaches to. Yes, they are under the control of material energy. But still, there are people who have some sort of judgment, some discrimination. They can see, those who go on Sankirtan know that. They can see when you are envious, they can see when you are lusty, they see when you are greedy. All these qualities, people can detect that. And especially nowadays where people get cheated all the time, they are very, very sensitive to this. They were always sensitive, but today really people very often come to a point they don't believe anything to anybody anymore. I meet people like this all the time. They don't believe what's in the media, they don't believe what this. So how can we make them believe this? And it's always the personal example of a devotee. The first symptom, well, what about if you are happy? There are not so many happy people out there, you know. So they get attracted. They go, hey, you should be miserable, but you are happy. There is only two classes of people who are always happy. There's an absolute idiot and a devotee. Because a fool, he doesn't understand anything. But a devotee, people can distinguish. They say, what is this? You are so happy. You shouldn't be. What makes you so happy? This is actually what people detect. And this is how they get attracted. So it is always our personal example. Another, which in extended way I can say, how we do also relate to each other. People can see that very clearly, and they are very sensitive to that. So, just 2 weeks ago in Sweden, an Indian gentleman coming to a program, Indian gentleman who obviously not really much association with devotees. Can you imagine? The man asked me, Prabhuji, why devotees are so harsh to each other? We don't do this in the family in India like that. Why are devotees treating each other like this? It was so embarrassing. And he didn't know what I know. So this is how we can improve our preaching. By our personal example, by our own personal Krishna conscious satisfaction, and by the ways we are treating each other. Then people will get attracted, because they don't have it out there. They don't find it out there. So they will be automatically attracted. For some of you, it may sound a little bit sentimental, or maybe not very philosophical. Most of the people don't understand philosophy. They read Prabhupada's books, they open the book and they go, this is Chinese? Oh, what is this? There are not many really intellectual people out there. But what they can understand, our moral standard, the way we treat each other, the internal, the happiness and satisfaction we emanate, that they can get very easily. And this is what attracts them. I'm tending always talk too long.
Please move forward a little bit, and there should be a pathway left for newcomers. Realistically speaking, in Vaishnav, in the big Vaishnav world today, there is, as in the broader world outside, there is a lot of tension and not such good dealings, and such that this gentleman said to you, that was in a particular place. And that seems, at the present time at least, almost impossible. In some situations to change that seems to be not within our capacity. What do you think? In Czechia, do you call it Czechia? Sometimes, mostly Czech Republic, yeah. And in Croatia, there are different groups of devotees and they don't get on. Let's be realistic. And to solve that, Bulgaria, is it like that? Yes. I believe so also, yeah. What can be done about that? It seems almost nothing. We could have festivals together, but then our differences are such that we wouldn't want to have festivals together because they're different standards of how men and women mix, for instance, and what you would not like to expose your children to. And what you're doing here is considered fanatical, and you're criticized for that, for having standards of separation between men and women. So it seems almost impossible to solve. It may gradually solidify into different groups altogether. Well, it's already like that, but it's just not official, so to speak. Any suggestions from all of you what to do? It's not pleasant. It doesn't fit with what we're talking about in preaching. One thing very noticeable is that especially His Holiness Radhanath Swami and the Niranjan Swami, they really emphasize this a lot. The good dealings between devotees and their disciples are usually very cultured and in their dealings and everything. We could learn something there. Let's hear from Padmanabhan Prabhu about this, because you deal with devotees from all over the world with different backgrounds. You can.
Yeah, this one. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. This is a very pertinent topic for all of us. One instruction from Hitopadesh. It says, Pustakastha tuja vidya parahastam gatam dhanam karyakale samutpanne nasa vidya natadhanam. So what we are discussing is, we have very wonderful philosophy. Prabhupada has given Bhaktivedanta purports. We are reading, but karyakale samutpanne. At the time of application of this philosophy, we are failed. The example have been given, Pustakastha tuja vidya. Vidya, the learning, is there in the books, right? So many different explanations are given in the book. But if we have not learned how to apply those instructions to our personal life, at the time of crisis, at the time of application, if we fail, that vidya has got no use. Similarly, you may have lot of wealth, but it is not with you. Money is there, but in the bank or with somebody else. At the time of use, you don't get it. So the point is, in Bhagavad-gita, Krishna says, Chetasa sarva karmani mai sanyasmatpara buddhijogam upasitya macchitta satatam bhava. He is giving a very direct instruction to all of us. What we should do. Macchitta satatam bhava. This is the key point in this context. He is saying that you know, at the time of performing your activity, think about me. When you are not engaged in performing these activities, still you also think about me. This is the point. Macchitta satatam bhava. Always you be in my consciousness. So that means the dilemma in Arjuna was, well, Krishna, sometimes you are talking about becoming a Nirapeksha Bhakta. Sometimes you are talking from the Sakama platform. What do you want me to do? No, I want you to become a, in between. So, Macchitta Satam Bhava. As I said that, we read the book, Prabhupada explains, he needs cooperation from the devotee. We cannot teach somebody, we cannot force somebody to cooperate. Why did I say that? Everybody is working according to their level of realization, intelligence. So then, if I am asking him to act according to my level of realization or intelligence, it's not going to work. It has to be the individual on their own capacity. They need to understand the application of the philosophy, the Siddhanta, in their platform, so that he can fulfill Krishna's instruction, whether I am acting on it or I am neutral, but I should be always conscious of Krishna. So the only solution in this context, I find that if we all individually take the responsibility without expecting other party to cooperate with me or fulfill what I am expecting from him, that can be a solution. what is happening, I am expecting in every relationship actually, wife is thinking how husband is going to listen to me to satisfy my desire, or vice versa. A friend is thinking how my friend should do this for me. The department head is thinking, well, they are my subordinates, they should just do what I want them to do. It doesn't work like that. So the philosophy has to be studied properly, and when it comes for application, the individual has to take the responsibility how I can be truly Krishna conscious. If we take the responsibility to become genuinely Krishna conscious, that means we are becoming a part of the solution, not that we are contributing to the problems. So, Macchitta sarvakarmani matpachada tarishyasi. So, by fixing our consciousness unto Krishna, as Krishna wants us to perform our duty, then it can be possible. This is how I understood from this verse from Bhagavad-gita.
That means that individually we can try and set a good example, but solving rifts and factionalism, we can't force others to come to the way that we think.
If we take a case study, Maharaj, it will be better to understand.
Okay, go ahead.
If we take a case study, for example, a subordinate devotee is not acting properly, means department head said,
in Mayapur they have so many departments which are headed by department heads. That's what he's talking about there. They have 5,000 devotees living there from all over the world at different levels of commitment, different cultural backgrounds.
Yeah. So then there is an expectation from the department head. He's asking, okay, I want you to go for book distribution. He is saying, no, I cannot do this. Because for the department head, he is thinking book distribution is the only service and this is my duty, you must follow this. And the devotee is thinking, no, well, I cannot do this. Now there is a rift. Okay? Or he doesn't listen because Prabhupada says book distribution, he doesn't want to do book distribution. What can I do? This is my duty, I have to tell him.
Please don't sit there. Come forward.
So now,
don't block the passageway.
Now from this case study, if we analyze the situation, so one party is thinking, I am incapable of doing this service. The other party is saying, this is most important, you must do it. So if you see from the individual capacity, both are correct. Maybe he is going through some health challenges, he has some issue, he is unable to perform that service. And from the head's perspective, well, we know Prabhupada stressed so much about book distribution. Why? You don't want to do it. You don't know? This life is meant for Krishna. Whatever the situation may be, you should just give your best. He is giving his philosophy to an extent where he is thinking he should be acting on the platform of Nirapeksha Bhakta. Means he doesn't care about his body, his health, anything, just give 100% to Krishna. Baba, he is not in that platform. And you are expecting him to become an Ananya Bhakta. How can somebody become an Ananya Bhakta? Unless he himself is thinking that, yes.
Ananya, you have to explain. You're in India now.
Ananya Bhakta means, like Krishna says, no? Ananyas chintayanto mam je jana parijupasate tesam nityabhijuktanam yogakshemam bahamyam. When somebody is serving Krishna without deviation, that is called Ananya Bhakta. He doesn't have any ulterior motive except serving Krishna. He doesn't have any other desire. Just he wants to serve Krishna. That is Ananya Bhakta. And then Krishna takes full responsibility for such kind of devotee. So the head is thinking he should be acting on that platform. But the devotee, he is thinking, no, well, I cannot do it. So now, from this case study, what is our expectation in this discussion? Well, the department head should also understand why he is telling like this. Should have a discussion. And the boy who is not inclined to do this service, is he inclined to do any other service? If he is not inclined to do any other service, then there is some problem with him. That means what we are trying to tell is, well, you are not able to go out for book distribution, what can you do? Okay, everybody is going out for book distribution, there is no one to make an noon offering. Can you do this? Oh, I am Brahminical initiated, but Prabhu, I cannot do this. Why you cannot do this? Every time if you ask him, he is giving an excuse how he cannot do, then there is a problem by his side. Therefore, we are saying individuals have to take responsibility to remain Krishna conscious. Well, I have some health issue. I cannot go out for book distribution. At least let me cook for the noon offering to the deity. Otherwise, how the temple president is going to maintain the temple? He understands the situation and he is coping up. And when he is explaining to the temple president or the department head, he will understand, yes, I also need somebody to make a noon offering to the deity. So at least he is staying back to do this. Otherwise, what happens? He doesn't go for book distribution. Neither he is ready to make a noon offering to the deity. And there is a guest coming to meet with the temple president. What he has to do? He has to attend to the guest. He has to make a noon offering. Or there is some other office work to do. How he will maintain? So, why I am here? We need to ask this question to ourselves. If I am a brahmachari or I am a dedicated devotee serving in temple, we should take the responsibility so that it will help us to remain Krishna conscious and will help others to remain Krishna conscious.
Okay, this could be discussed more, but I don't know if we're going to solve the situation. Let's go on to another one. How do we evaluate our japa? What is good quality chanting? When we chant like a child helplessly calling for the mother, that is good quality chanting. How do we evaluate? We need a japometer. What is the air quality? What's the air quality around here? Rishikesh Prabhu. Should be pretty good, huh? He's always telling me wherever we go, because I have chronic cough problem when we go in the polluted air, which is most of India. So it should be pretty good around here. What's the japa quality around here? Please don't sit with your back to the deities. What is the japa quality? That Krishna can say. But if we're chanting with feeling, helplessly, we sung yesterday, when will that day be mine? Free from offenses? Amar aparadha guchi shuddha name ruchi kripa bale hobe hridaye shancha. Free from offenses and with feeling. So the negative, looking at the negative side, not to have offenses, and with feeling. Genuine feeling, calling out, I have no other shelter than Krishna. Would you like to comment on that? How do we evaluate our japa? No. Would you like to say something more about that? Or we can actually, maybe we should move on. Okay, so next question. All right then. Do you want to take this one? Lead.
I have to go shortly to the car. There's an echo here. I have to get a...
Oh, I see. Hearing aid and glasses also.
Should we make some particular efforts to remain peaceful and relaxed, or rather only seek constant engagement in service? Should we make some particular efforts to remain peaceful and relaxed, or rather only seek constant engagement in the service?
Yes. Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he says how we should perform our devotional service. In Bhagavad-gita, there are 3 types of devotees explained. Maybe you know this. One is called Swanishtha Bhakta, middle one is called Parinishtita Bhakta, the highest one is called Nirapeksha Bhakta. Swanishtha Bhaktas are those who are engaged in their occupation with a desire to be promoted to the higher planets. Means they want to enjoy in this world through their very activity, and after giving up this body, they want to be promoted to the higher planets to enjoy heavenly happiness there. One type of devotee. They take up devotional and mixed bhakti. And Nirapeksha Bhaktas are those that don't have any desire for themselves. They are always engaged in serving Krishna. But here the question is, how I should perform my devotional service or activity, how should I endeavor? So here we have to perform, what is that called, Vaidika karma, Laukika karma, right? Because we live in the society. Vaidika karma means there are certain activities to be performed for the grahastha. He cannot say that now I have become Krishna conscious, I cannot perform these duties. If he is living in a society, then what happens? The society who are not Krishna conscious, they will say, see, oh, Krishna devotee, they don't follow the traditions, So they will not take up Krishna consciousness seriously. Or we will be the cause of them not embracing Krishna consciousness. So what should we do? Should we go for those kind of activities? No. So here Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, we perform to set the example. Not that I have to do this, without doing this my Krishna consciousness is stunted. No. We understand. Loko shikshartham. To educate the common mass, we undertake certain activities to educate them. But in the core of our heart, we always want to perform those activities which are helping me to become a better devotee day by day. So, we have to perform certain activities which are helping me to become better Krishna conscious. That should be the key point. For example, we have children, right? We need to educate them. This is one particular case study. How we want to educate them? If by educating them in a way, they are not becoming Krishna conscious, I am not also following my duty as a father to rescue them from this material world, then what is the use of that education? So then we have to perform the activity in such a way that I am becoming a better Krishna conscious devotee. That should be our goal of life. Because whatever we do today, that activity is going to give us the better platform to become either a better devotee or we degrade from our position as a Krishna conscious person. So therefore, everybody has to ask this question to himself or herself, how is this activity helping me to become a better devotee of Krishna next day? Accordingly, we should refine our consciousness.
Mic, please. No, there's a mic here. You can use this.
On what level should an aspiring devotee be before approaching spiritual master? That's a practical question. And that's, we can actually observe generally, people coming to Krishna consciousness. Krishna defines them as four kinds: those who are miserable, those who need some economy, those who are curious, and those who seek spiritual knowledge. So, those who seek spiritual knowledge have one privilege. They are not emotionally driven. The rest is emotionally driven. So, we all join this Krishna consciousness on sentimental platform. That means by sensual impression and our mental thing. And basically what Prabhupada said, Krishna consciousness is happening in the heart. So by heart we are joining. The intelligence, you know, sometimes this is very useful for preachers. Sometimes people talk quite nonsense. But they are emotionally driven towards Krishna consciousness. So one has to tolerate that. Yeah. Oh, really? You know, one doesn't really pay much attention. But one sees the intention. So what one has to bring towards Krishna consciousness is the desire. The desire has to be that. That can be inspired, but essentially it cannot be created. That has to come from us. If there is no desire, then there will be no result. Then, while joining, most people don't know that, and we don't tell them that really. I know many people who just heard. We told them, Chant Hare Krishna, be happy. We hear it, we just heard it here for a whole evening. Then they come back and I say, I chant Hare Krishna, I become more unhappy. You cheated me. You know what happened? I chant Hare Krishna, I realized I'm an idiot. You know, I'm realizing I'm not this body, my dear body, the whole I invested into the body, and that's what I am not. That's actually quite shocking. So therefore some people give up the process again, and they tune into Maya again. So ultimately, Krishna consciousness is, Prabhupada said, is for serious people. Serious. Do we really want to change something in our lives? Or do we want to just spice our lives with Krishna consciousness a little bit? It tastes better, isn't it? You know? No. The essence of Krishna conscious process is very, very radical. It's a total cleanup in a heart. We don't even know. Some people, they join and they say, I think I'm a little bit stupid. That's a good idea. But we don't even know the level and the depth of our conditioning. So that will become revealed by the purifying process, more and more. And the more serious we are, the faster it goes. So it is actually a very radical internal revolution we registered for. So some people like to have it like the spicing thing. Nice. They sympathize with Krishna consciousness, but not too much. Please, don't. So they never can taste the full result, and they can never get the taste really for that. So therefore they usually leave again. I was lucky. I joined a movement, you had to join totally. There was nothing to get, materially spoken. Nobody had really anything. So I was very lucky. Because I had to make a decision. Am I going to join these ecstatic people who have nothing? Or will I go back to my dream world and be affiliated with people who still have some hopes for this career in the material world? That choice I had to make, and I was 18 years old. I had to make it. And that choice comes to everybody who wants to join this movement. Many people can dress like this. Many people can look like that. But who is a real devotee? That happens in the heart. And that will be tested, because when we get Krishna's mercy, things start to happen. You know, devotees ask, how do I get free from this attachment? It's still bothering me. Krishna will take care of it. When you are serious, he will destroy it in front of your nose. So this is so wonderful. A devotee welcomes such mishaps even and such adversities, because he sees them as a purifying. And then there are people who are not so serious. They just go, oh, this is too much. This is too much. Immediately Maya is there. And she goes, I told you. I told you. You are chanting here, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. You don't even know what it is. How do you know it's all Maya out there? You didn't even try it out. You know. So then this is an individual choice we all are facing. So what we have to bring to Krishna consciousness is to become serious. Sincere. Prabhupada called it sincere.
There's a question in here about that. About what it means to be sincere. I'll look for that. In the meantime, I'd just like to sum up and say, qualification for approaching, here it is. Qualification for, I can't remember the question exactly. Approaching, when you're ready, when you're qualified to approach a guru for initiation, you have to be prepared to chant 16 rounds minimum of the Hare Krishna mantra throughout your life, to follow 4 regulated principles throughout your life, to have your clear goal of life to surrender fully to Krishna, and you have to be convinced that this process, which is being given by the spiritual master, is what you have to do and will do throughout this life and life after life, if required. That's it, in summary. Next question is for you, and we go straight into you finished with the point of sincerity, and there's a question here about sincerity.
How crucial is sincerity in Krishna consciousness? And what does it mean in practice?
What does it mean in practice? What is truth? I'm asking a question. What is truth? Please. Anyone? What is truth? Krishna is absolute truth, right? Okay. And anything related to Krishna? That is truth. So sincerity. How should I know that I am sincere or I am insincere? These things also has to be seen from different perspective according to the situation, the case. If I am asked to, just now Maharaj said that I am taking the responsibility to chant 16 rounds every day, follow 4 regulative principles. Now I am approaching for initiation. From this perspective, if we take this case study, I promise that I am going to chant 16 rounds every day, follow 4 regulative principles for the rest of my life. Now, if I don't take it with sincerity. Means, if I follow these regulative principles, I chant 16 rounds, definitely I am going to get Krishna's mercy. Well, first of all, I will get Guru's mercy. And then that will help me to get Krishna's mercy. And then I can attain Krishna. This is the goal of life. I can serve Krishna here and in his abode. So if this is cemented in my heart and I am committed to follow the same for the rest of my life, I am sincere. I am a truthful devotee. This truth is helping me to stay connected with my Guru and eventually with Krishna. This is sincerity. On the other hand, I go out, I meet with my friend who I had some connection before joining in Krishna consciousness. He said, well, one day just smoking one cigarette doesn't make any difference to your Krishna consciousness. Come on, come one time. Well, nobody is here, I am alone, right? I am also with karmi dress. I can join with him. And after that I come back to the temple and I again dress up, I put on tilak, I am standing before the deity. I am sincere, I am a cheater, I am not truthful, I am not sincere. So in every stage of his activity, he is thinking, I am truthfully following my Guru's instructions, I am becoming a truthful devotee. To remain a truthful devotee, what it takes, if I am practicing, then I am sincere.
Okay. Some recommendations how to stay inspired and happy as a lifetime brahmachari. You can read that book I wrote. That should help. There's one recommendation. Another recommendation is, well, let me preface this first of all. We often hear, how can I be sincere? How can I be determined? If you see some quality that you feel yourself lacking in, and you want to imbibe that quality, then we can associate with someone who has that quality. And that will help. So we can be inspired to be a lifetime brahmachari by associating with a inspired, happy lifetime brahmachari. That's another. Another is ask the grihastas, not the new ones. I joined in Bhakti-vedanta Mana, 1975. The town president was a grihasta, and there was a lot of grihastas in the temple. So I didn't have any idea that I wanted to get married before I joined. But then I saw there's so many grihastas in Krishna consciousness. So I thought, I asked him, so maybe I should. I was young, and maybe I should at some point. He said, Prabhu, take my advice, don't. And I thought, well, he's a grihasta, so he should know. Okay, that's it in brief. If you're gritting your teeth every moment of your waking hours, I got to start brahmachari, then you're probably not going to make it anyway. So yeah, the point is how to be happy as a lifetime. We may see someone who's a lifetime brahmachari, but they look pretty miserable. But that's not really a brahmachari, is it? Because brahmachari should be happy. Brahma sokyam tvanantam, experiencing Brahma sukh, spiritual happiness. Well, if he wasn't here, what would you say?
But maybe you should comment on this.
Okay.
I can start to say something.
All right. Mike.
Why do we have? Why we do yagyas, Vivaha yagya, Oma yagya, in Gurukula, in Mayapur, if Srila Prabhupada says that in Kali Yuga all yagyas have no effect because of lack of qualified brahmanas. Do
Did Srila Prabhupada
these
say that?
Homa sacrifices
Did Srila
have
Prabhupada
any
say that?
effect, or it is beneficial only the chanting during the sacrifice?
But did Srila Prabhupada say that?
Hmm?
Did Srila Prabhupada say that?
I cannot say that he said that because I never investigated in this
But
direction.
yeah, he himself, where did we learn about having
But
yagyas
one
at
thing
all?
I know.
But we learned about having yagyas from Srila Prabhupada, right?
But one thing I know Prabhupada said, when Krishna Balaram deities were installed in Vrindavan, Prabhupada, it was an elaborate ceremony lasting 3 days with all the brahmanas and yagyas and all this. And Prabhupada said, for us, not important. We could have shown one big kirtan and that would be it. But because there are still the local Brahmins and all the Smarta Brahmins and all this, they will not respect that. And they will think it's just some Western, joke. So they don't have that knowledge that Hare Nam, is the ultimate sacrifice in Kali Yuga. So for them we do this, but it's actually for us, it's not so necessary. That's much I know he said. But I am not the right person, I am not the Brahmin, Yagya Brahmin. I think it's nice. I think it's nice to have this marriage ceremony and all this and all the samskaras and everything. But I always saw it as more as a culture thing. For us, Prabhupada stressed over and over again, it's the Hare Nama Sankirtana. That's the ultimate sacrifice and that's the ultimate yagya. But maybe there are some more Brahminical advices. I am a little bit embarrassed to ask and answer this, especially in the presence of Brahmanas. You want to say something?
You're more than a Brahmana, you're a Vaishnava.
Yeah.
Well, we are not performing any karma kandiya yajna where we are inspired to get our fruitive desires, the result of our fruitive desire. For example, this Vivaha Yajna or Annaprasana, like we perform the different sanskaras for our children, right? Before the child is conceived, after the child is conceived, baby is born. They are different in the sanskaras. Even in our society, it is becoming more and more prominent day by day. So, why do we do that? As Prabhu mentioned, yes, Prabhupada also personally performed Vivaha Yajna. Even though as a sannyasi, he is not supposed to do, but he did that. So the point is, let us take an example. Somebody is going through some astrological crisis in his life. He has 2 choices. One choice is, he can go to his Guru Maharaj, ask Guru Maharaj, what should I do? Or he can go to a Graha Vipra, who is a material, person. He will find some solution. Oh, use this stone, you chant this Devi mantra, then you can become all right. Okay, he is going to his Guru Maharaj. Guru Maharaj finds, okay, he is going through this, Sunny. Now you chant this Nrsimha mantra. What he is doing? He is just worshipping Vishnu, right? So, when we perform these sacrifices, these sanskaras, the priest, the Brahmana, he needs to explain the importance of this sacrifice, why he is undertaking it, and what are the activities and the process involved. So then it will make them become reinstated in Krishna consciousness. On the other hand, if we are just performing this sacrifice for the sake of performing, it just remains like a activity. But this Gopal Bhatta Goswami, he has given the Satkara Dipika. These are explained for the Vaishnavas, right? To perform. Those like somebody leaves his body in the family, in a Vaishnava family, sanskaras has to be performed. Those rituals has to be performed according to the Vaishnava Siddhanta, following Vaishnava way. Then people will say, yeah, they are Vaishnava, they know also after somebody leaves his body, they have to perform these rituals. So to teach the public, Gopal Bhatta Goswami has given this set of instructions in Satkriya Sar Dipika for the Vaishnavas how to perform these sanskaras. And these are not faulty sanskaras. And for Vaishnavas, if we undertake that, how child is becoming more intelligent. For example, before conceiving the baby, certain rituals has to be performed. Why? Because the parents are preparing themselves to attract a good soul to take shelter of their womb. Right? So that is the essence. Not that they are just performing to make a show of the society. Now we are going to conceive a baby, that's why we are performing this activity, ceremony. We are feeding hundreds and thousands of people to show our material status. No, this is not the goal. The goal is they are making a preparation to attract a pure soul who can become a Vaishnava. That is the goal behind performing this sanskara. So if we have understood why I am doing this and how I should do it, then I don't think this confusion will be there. Otherwise, why Gopal Bhatta Goswami had to write this Satkriya Sar Dipika for us? So, the way Vaishnavas have shown the path for us, we need to practice knowing the reason behind why I am doing this, how I must do it. Then that will be more meaningful for us. And also society will be rescued by we setting the example following Vaishnava ways. For example, I can tell you in USA, Dallas Temple President, many of you may be knowing him, Nityananda Prabhu.
I don't think anyone knows him.
Okay. So
You're Parivrajaka-acharya. You travel around the world, but there's some small countries in Central Europe. It's a different world.
Maharaj, he was, when he was active temple president, he went to some Christian funeral ceremony. And they knew that he is a recognized priest from ISKCON. And they asked him, can you help us to perform this ritual? So he did for a few. And now, many, people who are, according to social status, they are very good Christians. Many of them, before they even leave their body, they tell their people, you call this gentleman to perform the funeral rite after I leave my body. Now, on the process, they have realized that these people, they are not just, doing some ceremony. There is something in it, what they do. Even the Christians, they have understood the value of we performing a ritual ceremony for a karmi. This is also a preaching, right? They are getting attracted to us. Not that we do just for the sake of doing something. We are chanting Vishnu's mantra, we are chanting Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, and we do the way Acharyas have explained. And it appeals to even a karmi. So therefore, yes, we perform these sanskaras, these ceremonies, the way our Acharya, like Gopal Bhatta Goswami, has explained in Satkriya Sar Dipika, understanding the science behind it, that help us to remain Krishna conscious, that helps our children to become Krishna conscious, and also it has an influence in the society we live in. So therefore, those kind of activities should not be just on the mental platform, no, we don't need this. maybe, okay, you may not need this because you are a very highly elevated Vaishnava, but what about the society you live in? How are you protecting the society? So in that, if we understand the science behind in totality and undertake by following the footsteps of the predecessor acharyas, then we are not to be accused.
So the question is there, is the holy name enough? And then why do we do all the yagyas? The holy name is enough. But we do the yagyas, as you say. One thing is for, it makes an impression, sanskar, that word is used for sanskar. Just like, for instance, in initiation or wedding, it helps people who don't have full faith in the holy name to think that this is something very important. And also, Vishnu is pleased by yagyas. So many names in Vishnu Sahasranam, Yagya, Yagyapati, Yagyabhuk. So many names. And then the essence is Sarva Jagya Haite Krishna Nama Jagya Shah. The essence of all yagyas is the holy name. So in the yagya, in the mantras, the holy name comes always. One of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur's disciples, Vaikanasa Maharaj, he was expert as a Karma Kandiya priest before he joined. And he would install deities. And he would go on for hours chanting mantras in the deity installations without consulting any book or any such thing. And that was much appreciated. But then another disciple, he would say that, what do you need all this for? Just chant Hare Krishna. So both have their utility. Krishna is also pleased by so many Vedic mantras. We chant Hare Krishna, then we also chant the hymns of Bhaktivinoda Thakur. We shouldn't stop that either. We could just chant Hare Krishna non-stop day and night, but we also chant the songs of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, songs of Srila Prabhupada. Yeah, Srila Prabhupada introduced us to this. One thing, when I first went to Bangladesh, no one ever, I never saw or heard of anyone doing these fire sacrifices. And everyone knew, Sarva Jagya Haite Krishna Nama Jagya Sha, the essence of all sacrifices, is the holy name of Krishna. But nowadays, by the influence of ISKCON, there are so many fire sacrifices for so many things. And we have all these Bengali devotees chanting all the mantras with solid Bengali pronunciation, which, and they don't know what they're doing. By the standard of actual Yagyic Brahmanas who are there. Gokul Chandratam, in Salem, he was doing a yagya. He was on, and it was on YouTube. It went on YouTube. And he got so many people laughing at him in the comments. Because he's in South India. They say, oh, they're doing this wrong and that wrong. And if people don't know, you can bluff your way through it. But if they do know, then you become exposed. But it's good if some learn to do it properly also. When the first Grihasta to build their own independent house in Mayapur was Abhiram Prabhu. And he asked Prabhupada's blessings when he invited Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada was there when they were going to have the Griha Pravesh, the ceremony for entering the home. And he invited Srila Prabhupada to come, which Srila Prabhupada agreed to. Eventually he didn't because he was sick on that day. But he told him, you perform a yagya for entering the Griha Pravesh. It's entering the house, entering a new house. He told him perform a yagya. And that just struck me because I was thinking, I was just thinking at the time, what's the use of all these yogis? Just chant Hare Krishna. But then I saw Srila Prabhupada specifically said, so it does create an atmosphere of something, it's something visible and lots of chanting, and it creates an atmosphere when you have people chanting in that very solid voice, and it sounds very purifying also. So it creates an impression in the mind of this is something very important. Do you have any advice to a person who is trying to fight against his attachment to erotic literature, pictures, etc.? Go on fighting. Not easy, it seems. Janananda Goswami Maharaj said yesterday that he was at some brahmachari convention. So I asked him this morning what kind of questions were there, and I knew it was in my mind already. And he said there are many questions about, guess what? Anyone? Masturbation. And he said, and homosexual tendencies. These are brahmacharis living in the ashram. These are real life problems. What to do? Fighting. It's hard. It's a sanskar, deep in the mind, hard to overcome. Go on fighting. Best thing is just drop it, just leave it. But it seems that it's not so easy to do. We can know someone is safe. They didn't fall down when they die. It doesn't mean in the next lifetime that they're not going to have to be born again. Daivi esha gunamayi mama maya duratyaya. Overcoming Maya is very difficult. Mameva ye prapadyante maya metam tarantite. Surrender to Krishna, easy solution. But then surrendering to Krishna doesn't seem like such an easy thing either. There's a process of surrender. Sharanagati, the things we have to do. Go on following the process. Everyone nowadays, it seems like that. Everyone is, who's that telling me? Oh yeah, I think Janananda Maharaj also. Oh yeah, something very horrible that some 5-year-old children are being shown pornography and then imitating what they see. 5 years old. Sexualized at the age of 5. It's a very bad age. We have to go on fighting. That means following the process, keeping good association as best we can. Keep on trying. Don't surrender to Maya and say that, well, it's all okay. And anyway, what the hell, everyone's doing it. Keep on fighting. Krishna will appreciate. There was one anecdote with Srila Prabhupada. I don't remember exactly the details, but one devotee, he wrote to Srila Prabhupada and said, I'm struggling so much. I'm trying, but I keep on falling down. And then I try again and I keep on falling down. And Srila Prabhupada got this letter and he turned to his secretary and said, see how he is struggling for Krishna. Srila Prabhupada appreciated that. And that when are we qualified to approach a spiritual master? So someone may say, well, what's the qualification of a spiritual master? Sridhar Maharaj, ISKCON Sridhar Maharaj. When we say Sridhar Maharaj, there are three. We can say there's ISKCON Sridhar Maharaj, Sridhar Maharaj the commentator on Bhagavatam, and Sridhar Maharaj, Srila Prabhupada's godbrother. So there are three prominent Sridhar Maharajas in ISKCON terminology. So Sridhar Maharaj, our godbrother, he used to have in his room in ISKCON Juhu temple a cartoon, devotee cartoons. There's a genre of ISKCON cartoons. You know this one? It's Los Angeles temple. Those who've been there, they know it's a unique design. There's pillars out the front. So it's a cartoon, so there's bubble talk coming out. You know this? Within the balloon they have talking. So it says, coming from the bubble, do you promise to follow the 4 regulated principles? Then another bubble says, yes. Do you promise to chant 16 rounds throughout your life? Yes. And then it goes inside the temple, and the disciple is saying, then, okay, then I accept you as my guru. On which day was that? Monday, just before I left Zagreb, one middle-aged Mataji came to me and said that, how can I know? I have to approach a guru. How can I know who won't fall down? I said, you can't know. Scriptural directions are there. You should examine the character of the prospective guru. There are guidelines. And I said, you see the guidelines and you pray to Krishna. You want to say more about that? It looks like you're ready to say something. Okay, yeah. I'm going away. I'm leaving now. I won't be here for this harsh words. No, I have to. I'll come back in a few minutes.
Shall I say something?
Yeah. Go ahead.
If somebody wants to know a manual how to fall down, I can supply one. Yeah.
Oh, you don't need to. There's a whole world is all around us.
Prabhupada distinguished between 2 fall downs. Sudden, by certain situation.
Yeah.
You know, he gives a wonderful example of a devotee who used to smoke. And he became a very enthusiastic preacher. But he was a strong smoker. So he comes in an association of people, they are all smoking. And he comes to preach Krishna consciousness. So he goes, Krishna, and we are not this body, and they are all very good, very good. And then what do smokers do when they like you? Well, they offer you a cigarette. So he goes, Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and one smoker comes, this is very nice, just take one. And he goes, yes, and therefore I say, and then he realizes, I have a cigarette in the mouth, I'm smoking too, because he used to do it. A total automatic habituation. So he just goes, and then he throws the cigarette away immediately. Prabhupada said that accidental fall downs will be forgiven. But then there is a patterns, really systematic patterns which leads to fall downs. And when you are some years around in ISKCON, you learn from these patterns. It's good to know them, because then you strategically avoid this, not to expose yourself to a, classical fall down. I just can mention only a few points, okay? The first point is you have no friends, no feedback. In the early days, this is not so dangerous because you need, and you are together with devotees in this. When you rise to a platform where you come to a leading position, the more you come to a leading position, the more alone you will be. Because there are not so many leaders. There are, many others. I wouldn't call it followers nowadays, but, there are others. And the leaders are always a very small group. So there can be a certain type of loneliness there, which is dangerous. You are expected to wake up in the morning and make judgments, give instructions, give leadership. But what is your leadership? Where is your backup? Now, I don't want to get into the autobiographic thing, but I was maybe 28 years, 30 years in ISKCON temple president. I will not be a temple president anymore. For one reason. Not because I couldn't do it. I think I could still do it. But I need authority. I need a backup. I need to exercise authority. I need to have authority over me. If I don't have it, I'm just nice. Devotees ask me, you used to be so heavy as a temple president. Now you are so nice. What happened? And I said, well, the reason is I am not temple president anymore. Hello. So, so this is the principle. The more you rise to the leading position, the more alone you will be. Preachers are sometimes going to countries and to locations. They find themselves in a very isolated position. So we always need a friend, to say at least. We always need to keep the channel of hearing open. If you're just talking and you are not hearing, then you become a monologuing, suicidal candidate. And we saw it happening. When you surround yourself with people who just listen, but they don't give you feedback, very dangerous. When you make yourself dependent on vox populi, on just what they are telling you, very dangerous. Because you may meet people, they will tell you many nice things, but they are maybe not so nice. Authorities are exposed to the regime, they can get used. When people sense, oh, this is a man with exercising some authority, they will come around, They will come, they will offer you even money, and they will just to manipulate you so they can use you. This is another danger, fall down. So, if you don't have that correction, you don't keep that opening hearing, it doesn't have to be big. As I notice when you get older, the selection of those you are hearing from is getting rather smaller. Because you just become more aware of false advice. There is nothing worse as false advice. So you are not so, maybe appear even that you don't hear so much, but you must have somebody you can trust, and you can go in times of need. In crisis times, there will be crisis times, and say, okay, now I am really at the crossing. Which road shall I take now? What is this? Prabhupada gave a very simple example. The executive power, Kshatriya, he said, absolutely needs the legislative power, the Brahmana. I was personally present in France, in New Mayapur, when Prabhupada said, we will not spread this movement without cooperation of Brahmanas and Kshatriyas. And they are actually the same in the in the policy, what they exercise. It's just the lifestyle is different. One is exercising, and the other one is the legislative, the brain and the arms. Therefore, sometimes we have this problem. We have so much nice philosophy, isn't it? So many nice people talking nice things, but there's nothing happening. Hello? There's nothing happening. Or the other extreme, what we also exercised, there is so much happening, so much action, but no brain. You know, that Prabhupada is find even as more dangerous. He called it the busy fool. There's a lazy fool, he doesn't know what to do. You know, so he is okay, he's stupid. But then there's a busy fool. He's very, active. And maybe he's even, capable to produce something, but it will be destructive. So this is another reason to fall down. We need constantly a check, balance. We are not one-man show. I saw people in ISKCON declaring themselves to be the ultimate solution to the problem. My way or highway. I am the chosen one. They are not here anymore. Without exception, they fell down. Because it doesn't work that way. And you may not believe it, but what was one of the amazing features of Prabhupada, that he was able to hear even. He was very pragmatic, especially in a managerial sense. Prabhupada was a strong speaker. When it came to philosophy, there was no chance somebody could come up with something really. But even there, he was sure. But when it came to managerial issues, Prabhupada was open for discussion. He said, he took informations, and then devotees always waited, so what is your judgment? And sometimes Prabhupada said, you decide. That was quite heavy, because then the responsibility is on your side. Oh, this was heavy. So fall downs appear like this. And then, of course, comes a classical saying that you get involved only with sympathetic people. I could go more in detail, but I'm living in a male body, okay? So I know what it means when the females are very favorable. Very spiritually interested females. And they will listen specially from you. Well, that's, watch out. And I am not blaming, this is not, please, don't take any offense. They do it quite naturally. They are heart-guided people. So they just go, that's a nice man. And this is not a nice man. This man is disgusting. And this man is a nice man. So when you come into this, by the way, it works opposite the same way, okay? It works the same way. And again, the same principle. We need superior spiritual guidance. Therefore, the presence of spiritual master is essential, who will free us from our sentimental perception. He will go, this is, I understand you feel like that, but this is not a good result, This can bring dangers to you. But I love it. I love him. I love her. This is all can be very deceitful. So this is all things which lead to fall downs. To trust our feelings. Nowadays there is so much stress on feelings. Do you feel good? Do you feel good? Then, in a good feeling devotee, he will get a good service. Well, what do you mean, I feel good? I mean, I feel, first of all, my feelings are changing all the time. Sorry, but my humor is sometimes, it's coming from a Sankirtan when I am not a very subtle person. So I always go when they ask me, how do you feel? I feel like going to the toilet. I definitely have a very urgent feeling. And when I come out of the toilet, my feeling changed. Essentially spoken, that's what feelings are about. Sorry. Now, we are not saying we should be feeling less, not at all. But this feeling has to be, Prabhupada will call it Krishnaized. They have to be just monitored and guided. And they are not, fall down. So many nice devotees had to face fall downs just because of these unguarded, unsheltered situations where they were victimized exclusively by their feelings. That's all. This is just few hints, there is more to it, but it's the same pattern, it's the same thing. So, there are sometimes, how did you survive in Krishna consciousness? Well, I don't trust my feelings, you know. My feelings can... So I could get more autobiographical, especially in the presence of Bhakti Vikasa Maharaj. Because in my life, he was the one who actually corrected my feelings nicely, gently, and very effectively. He doesn't maybe even know it. He never told me I'm an idiot. But when I thought about this, what he thought, he said, yeah, that's what he said actually. That's what a very gentle person does. Like when Maharaj told me, things could be seen differently, then I know I'm an idiot. So this is just an example. We need, everybody needs some correction. Somebody he can reach out and somebody who can correct him. Then we can be more protected from fall downs.
Our heart may be black, but if there is a spark in there of wanting to reach out to Krishna, and we try for that, we should know that however hard it may seem, however difficult, however bad things we have in our heart, Krishna will help. Always keep that faith. Ashabandha. Even though I'm completely unqualified. We have our acharyas, Narotandas, we just sing, Mosama Patita Prabhu Na Paibaya. How could he think like that? He's writing such beautiful songs, full of feeling for Krishna, but he actually thinks he's the most fallen. But it's very suitable for us. So keep faith. Krishna will help. Just keep on holding on. There are increasingly, as we go on in time, since Srila Prabhupada came to the West in 1965, again and again we're seeing instances of ordinary devotees. No devotee is ordinary. Every devotee is extraordinary. But devotees who are not the big shots, the little shots, unheard of, unknown, and just toward the end of life, Krishna opens a window to the spiritual world, and they're there before they leave. They're saying, now I'm with Krishna. They're experiencing that directly. They made it. There are many. No, there are some instances. They're directly with Krishna, and they're relating that. There's one small book, Simple for the Simple, about Ratna Ranjini Devi Dasi. How many of you have heard of her? Hardly anyone. My god sister, she was there in Bhaktivedanta when I joined. I never saw her or heard of her. Her husband we knew about. He's a very strong personality. So she was doing simple service all her life, serving her husband, and she was the temple treasurer for many years, and like a mother to all the devotees. And then shortly before she passed away, she was with Krishna. She was telling how now I'm in Vrindavan. It's very nice here. Krishna is here. And there are several instances of that. So just keep on going. Have faith. Krishna will help. If we try, Krishna will help. It doesn't go in vain. Okay. So, okay, pass this on.
Vasudeva and Devaki in their previous life were Kashyapa Muni and Aditi. Kashyapa Muni was devotee of Shiva and he was Karmakandi. What was the cause that in his next life he became Vasudeva, a pure devotee of Krishna?
We have Drona and Dhara, and then, but then we find, is that in Chaitanya Bhagavat, when Chaitanya Prabhu said that when I was Vamana, you were Kashyapa the Aditi, when I was Rama, you were Kaushalya and Dasharath. So that's the Karma Kandi. Kashyapa is an unusual figure in as much as he's the father of God, Upendra, Vamana avatar. He's also the father of all the demons in two classes, the Daityas and the Danavas. He's the father of all the snakes and insects and trees and everyone. We don't usually, at least in the Bhagavatam, we don't see him being specifically a devotee of Shiva. Although that may be also, he's a Vaishnava. When he instructed his wife to, again, when another wife of his, Diti, Aditi is the mother of all the demigods, and including Vamana Dev. And then another wife, Diti, when she wanted to have a son who would kill Indra. And then Kashyapa advised her to worship Vishnu, which she did. To call him a karma kandi brahmana is not exactly correct. You see, Prithu Maharaj performed 99 horse sacrifices, and there are so many cases in the Bhagavatam. Maharaj Nabhi was performing a sacrifice, and then Lord Vishnu personally came. And it's described in such cases, they perform such sacrifices as a duty, performing Vedic duties, but specifically with the intention to please Vishnu. All sacrifices are for the purpose of pleasing. Well, in all sacrifices, the enjoyer of the sacrifice is Vishnu. But then some may do such sacrifices specifically for the pleasure of Vishnu, pure devotees. Although generally it's not said that Kashyapa became Vasudeva. That was that Drona Andhara, then Prishni Sutapa. Oh, wait a minute, I'm getting mixed up here. Which is, Drona was with the Nanda Maharaj. Is that right? Who's got it all right? We need to study Shastra more. There's so much in Shastra. It may be complex. Agastya, we see, is generally... In South India, the people, they all think he's a devotee of Lord Shiva. And he's the originator of the Tamil language. And the Tamil people, they're supposed to be devotees of Shiva. That's what hardcore Tamil Vadis, or whatever you want to call it. They want to use the word Vadi because that's Sanskrit. Although half their language is still Sanskrit, even though they try to edit it all out. But then we know him also as a devotee of Vishnu. And when we see many instances, when Krishna went to Mithila, he went from Dwarka to Mithila, he was accompanied by so many sages, and many, including Yajnavalkya, who's generally known as an impersonalist, and or various sages. So Krishna is the upholder of Vedic culture, both Vaishnava and non-Vaishnava. Maybe that all needs unpacking a bit or explaining. That would be a very interesting study. Someone want to do a PhD unpacking all the strands in Vedic culture. We know Vedic culture because here in the West we know Vedic culture, the Vaishnava strand. But there are two prominent other strands, which is the Shaiva and Shakta strand, and they're just as big in terms of numbers and influence in the history of India. And some areas were traditionally predominantly Shaiva, worshippers of Lord Shiva. Kashmir is famous for that. And in Bengal, it's always been a very, very strong influence of Shakti worship, especially Kali. Then in Maharashtra, Ganesh. So Krishna is he gives the Vedic culture, and he upholds the Vedic culture with its various strands to accommodate different people at different levels. And ultimately he comes and speaks Bhagavad-gita and says, give up all this nonsense and just surrender to me. But he's the one who gives all that nonsense in the first place, because if you don't follow the Vedic nonsense, then you'll follow the absolutely sinful nonsense. So it's better to follow the Vedic nonsense. And there's always a touch of Vishnu there. Vedic nonsense. Yeah, worshipping demigods for material gains. First of all, in Bhagavad-gita, Krishna, he promotes this in the 3rd chapter, and then by the time we get to the 7th chapter, he's saying, forget it. So to unpack all of this, it's all within Varnashram Dharma also. In Varnashram communities, should we promote demigod worship? Maybe. Because not everyone's going to be ready to worship Vishnu. Maybe. Don't do it too soon. But that may be there. We're going to have people eating meat, drinking wine. We already have, but it's not regulated. It's not within Varnashram Dharma. Within Varnashram Dharma it should be regulated according to Vedic injunctions. Or maybe not. If we can have a society. That we're aiming at, a society of pure devotees. But for those who are not, then We could have broader. Possibly. We have to think of all these things. Right now we're just trying to get people to chant Hare Krishna. And if they can live without a smartphone, that's a huge step forward, and really difficult thing to do. Or iPod, whatever it is, iPhone or whatever. I have a suggestion how to overcome addiction to smartphone and iPhone. Don't have one. You're laughing. How can you live without one? I proudly declare I never had a phone in my life. When they first came, it was a prestige symbol to have a phone, because only the wealthy people could afford them. And some people wanted to give me a phone. I said, no, I don't want a phone. In those days, it was only a phone. You didn't have pornography, etc. on it. But I thought, wait a minute, they're giving me a phone and I'm going to get phone calls all day. I don't want that. Let you have a phone. It's a quandary. It's useful for services and preaching, can be, but it can also be a very dangerous diversion. So I think it's almost time for Gaurangera Arotik Shobha.
4 minutes.
4 minutes to go. All right, so Hare Krishna. We'll leave it there. And struggle on. And yeah, the mind is full of all garbage, but anyway, chant Hare Krishna and Sankirtan Yageshwara, the Lord of the Sankirtan Yagya. Actually, there are two, aren't there? Sankirtanaika Pitaro, Kamala Yataksho, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda. So here they are, they're very happy. Chant Hare Krishna and be happy. Hare Krishna. So chant Hare Krishna and